Well, for more on China's military reform, let me turn to Dennis Wilder. He's an East Asian affairs expert, also a professor at Georgetown University. Professor, welcome.
Thank you.
I just want to get your take on what we heard from President Xi Jinping, the highlights of his message and his vision, sir, in your opinion.
China is in the midst of the most important and major transition of its armed forces in its history. China used to have an army that was basically to defend its land borders, a large infantry-heavy army. Now the Chinese realize that they have interests far from their shores, and so they're developing power projection capabilities and very modern capabilities. Given the way the Chinese economy has grown, they have the resources to do this. So what President Xi is doing is creating an army for the future, an army of more Air Force, Navy, cyberspace, space capabilities, really high-tech military that will challenge, frankly, the United States and other countries in the world in terms of military capabilities.
And in terms of military capability, streamlining, modernization, and transformation, what stands out to you?
I think it is the power projection capabilities. The fact that China has just created its first military facility overseas in Djibouti, the commencement of aircraft carrier production in China, the building of modern aircraft able to fly long distances, modern ships. All of these things will allow China to defend its interests, to actually get more involved in humanitarian operations around the world, to take its place as a great power in the world.
Professor, you mentioned Djibouti. Is there any indication Djibouti is just China's first overseas military operation? And will there be military base, I should say? Will we see more bases like that in Africa?
I think you should expect to see the Chinese place more bases overseas. If you look at any of the major powers who have worldwide interests, economic, protection of sea lanes, all the rest of these things that we do and other countries do, I think you're going to see China create more logistics facilities abroad for its Navy and power projection locations in case they need them for humanitarian operations, rescue of their own citizens. These are logical steps that China is taking.
China has taken a really significant role when it comes to international peacekeeping, contributing nearly 3,000 troops to UN peacekeeping efforts. And Professor, that's more than the other 4 Permanent Security Council members combined. But do you believe China gets the credit it really deserves when it comes to peacekeeping operations overseas?
Well, I think that the United Nations is very grateful for the fact that the Chinese are willing to stay these roles in the world. I think it does show that not everything the Chinese are doing on the military side is of concern, and that this is the beginning of China really becoming what we once said in the Bush administration was a responsible stakeholder in the world. I think China is stepping up to new responsibilities in that regard.
And do you think part of the reason is because of what may be perceived of Donald Trump's current views when it comes to foreign policy and leadership in the world?
Well, I think the Trump administration needs to take a look at what the Chinese are doing, and it has to decide whether or not it wants to continue to be engaged as a major global power. I think there are some questions about the America First strategy and what it means for American primacy, for example, in the Pacific.
Professor Dennis Wilder, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.